Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Live from Little Bear Sanctuary show with Christopher Vane. Enjoy topics such as the vegan lifestyle, sanctuary media highlights, and spotlighting new rescues.
Happy Friday, friends. Welcome to Live from Little Bear Sanctuary. I'm your host, Chris Vane. And if you're watching live today on September 17th, 2021, don't forget to say hello, sign in, subscribe to the Goldylocks Productions channel. And yeah, don't be shy. We like questions. You know, I know my regulars are usually here on Friday, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And of course, if you missed any episodes, we're on demand on the Goldylocks Productions YouTube and the Little Bear Sanctuary Facebook page, website, YouTube. It's everywhere. And of course, we're on every major podcast site. So couple announcements before I bring my guest on. October, it's auction October. It's our annual auction for the animals. It will be starting on Saturday, October 16th through Saturday, October 23rd. We're going to try to get both Saturdays in. And usual format, silent auction, meaning, you know, you bid on various, I don't want to call them prizes or whatever, items that companies have generously donated. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's, you know, everything starts at like $5 to $10. It's very affordable. And I think we're going to have 2 raffle items this year. Will be more higher end, at like $5 a ticket. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that this could be our 5th year that we're doing that. So we're not going to do the America's Next Top Model photo contest. We're not going to do that this year. We're kind of revamping it. But we're definitely going to have our auction. I always look forward to it. One more thing. Tomorrow, September 18th at 8 p.m., my buddy Ruth Saltman, she does her show here on the Goldylocks Network, Wednesdays at 8. She's going to have a master class tomorrow on how to self-publish. So tickets, I believe, are $35. I'm sure Tiffany will put up a link. I know it's on Facebook. I think I even shared it on my page, so you guys will find it, and I'm sure we'll get a link up. And speaking of Ruth, hey Ruth, she's watching today. How are you, Ruth? I was just talking about your class tomorrow. All right, let's see. September is Suicide Awareness Month, guys. I hope you guys will take a minute to look up some signs and do a little research on suicide prevention. I've had an incident in my lifetime that really changed my life completely, and it's kind of funny. I'm going to be on Ari Schoenbern's podcast. He does a podcast called Whispers and Bricks. And it's he was a survivor of 9/11, and he brings on people who have survived that, who were there that day, who were part of that, and who've gone on to do you know, things with their lives and went beyond you know, the craziness that day affected. I was in New York City that day, and I'm going to be telling my story for the first time on his podcast on October 5th. And I'll let you guys know more about that as we get closer to it. I was going to talk about it last week. I said, and then it's so funny that his secretary called me. So, you know, I don't think there's any accidents. So I'm really looking forward to talking about it. And I hope, I'm sure it's I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people out there, and it's ready for me. I'm ready to finally talk about it publicly. It's been 20 years. So I'm looking forward to talking with him. All right. My guest today is the leading expert in vegan interior design, and she's the principal creative and owner of Walden Interiors. Welcome to the studio, Risha Walden. Hi, Risha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm fabulous.
Thanks for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you here. So I hear the weather up there isn't so good today.
Not so great, but we're enduring. So hopefully we'll have some good weather this weekend.
Yeah, you guys have winter coming up soon. Yeah.
We don't talk about that. No, we don't.
So tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
So I'm Risha Walden, and I am the principal creative and owner of Walden Interiors. I'm also the leading expert in vegan interior design, and I help my clients create luxury interiors from primary residence in Palm Springs, Vancouver, to vacation homes in New York, and more homes in New Jersey. I'm based in New Jersey, and I am looking to create beautiful interiors without cruelty. So taking the use of animal products and finding alternatives for animal products in luxury interior design, particularly, luxury design has a lot of cachet around animal products. So finding great alternatives. And part of my mission is to educate and bring awareness to vegan interior design. And so take the conversation of veganism off the plate and into your home.
I love that.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah, I know that, gosh, for the longest time, luxury means fur, leather, cashmere, wool.
Yeah.
And there's so many alternatives now. I think I read on one of your blogs, let me see what the stats are. I wrote it down here so I wouldn't forget it.
Oh my gosh.
A 9x12, a 9x12 wool rug. It takes 18 sheep.
That's right.
To make a 9x12 wool rug. And each sheep produces 30 liters of methane gas. So you add that up, the carbon footprint on that wool rug alone is insane.
Right.
What are some other
other animal products?
Yeah, what are some other, let's talk about some alternatives.
Yeah, well, I think the big one in that is really out in the news, particularly right now, is leather and finding alternatives for leather. We've seen technology using mycelium, mushroom mycelium is a new hot thing, but also agave, pineapple leaves. Those are those are some great plant-based alternatives. I don't think when I have conversation with people about leather, they're like, well, it's natural, it will decompose. If we even just don't even look at the animal component, which is a big thing for me, but I'm trying to touch people in places where they can understand, because if they're not understanding the cruelty, it's hard to stretch your minds. But if we're just talking about leather, leather is a natural product, but it's treated so that it won't decompose, so that it will last a long time. And it's treated with chemicals, and it requires a ton of water. And most of the hides are processed in places like Bangladesh or India, where there aren't any rules or regulations in regards to the use of the water and the discharge of the water. So the water is then, being washed right into the waterways, and it's full of chemicals and acids and tons of really harmful product. Not only is it not ruining our waterways, et cetera, because we know what gets discharged over there, we're going to end up drinking over here. it doesn't take into account that there's also no regulations on the workers that are working on the hides to
they're
keep
exposed
them.
to those chemicals.
They're in those chemicals. I mean,
Yeah.
the mean age of a tannery worker is like 54 or something like that, really young, because they don't have any regulations. So if we don't even look at, if we look at an environmental aspect of it, it's so detrimental to the environment. So finding these plant-based alternatives is really exciting. However, those plant-based like the pineapple and the mushroom and the agave are so new that they're not being produced on mass scale. So somebody like me, just little small peanuts me sitting over here in Jersey, I have no pull to get those kind of materials and to be able to use them. So they're being used in, and looked at, but I mean, this is the start, right? They're being used by.
It's amazing the alternatives now. A company, gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the company. In Germany, they are doing leather from pineapple, and they sent me it's just a small
SWAT
carry bag, just like for your phone and stuff like that, and you can't tell the difference. I mean, this thing is so high quality. It's amazing. And I'm sure it's going to eventually get there. I think about, it's the leather industry is $1 billion industry on its own. Most people think it's the throwaway of the meat industry, but literally, it's its own industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's just the fact that we're moving forward with that is great. And at some point it's going to be more accessible. Fashion, we know fashion is really looking at those choices. And once fashion gets a hold of it and they're able to mass market it, then it'll be more accessible for interiors. It just gives me hope. In the interim, while we're waiting for that, there's still a plethora of faux leathers. Now, these are petroleum based, but if you look at the amount of water that's being used and the resources used to create a petroleum based faux leather, it's 5 times more for it to be natural leather. That's how much the difference is. It's so minute. Right. So just in that alone, we're saving so much in the environment. And then, of course, the best thing is we're not harming any animals with it. Right. So this is like a win-win situation because we're helping the environment and we're not harming animals. I mean, who says no to that? Who can say no to that? I mean, people do, but who can say no to that?
Yeah, there's still that mentality of luxury somehow. Luxury vehicles with leather, luxury.
Right. Although Tesla came out and Tesla is being sold, right?
Thank goodness.
So they're right. So it's just those forward-thinking companies that are starting to utilize the alternatives that are going to make a big difference and bring awareness to the consumer. I try to do it as much as possible, but I'm not Tesla yet. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
We'll see. I mean, I like the fact that there is whatever about Tesla, but it's just about having influence, and this is cause that's passionate to my heart. So the more drops I can put in the bucket, the bigger the ocean is, right?
Absolutely. Hemp, I think, is another underutilized material just because of the stigma around it. That's right. It's just
there for years you weren't able to grow hemp.
Right.
There are a lot of regulations because hemp is such a great alternative, not just for fabric, but or thread. But medicine, food product. My brother does hempcrete. He's working on a project for hempcrete. So
how cool is that?
I mean,
Wow.
It's so diverse, and it grows so rapidly that it has
It's a weed,
a
right?
lot of yeah.
No pun
Well,
intended.
a weed. It's
Uh,
so and those are exciting. The thing about you like I love using natural plant-based products in my interior design. Uh, there is a trade-off, however, because natural plant-based products don't carry or have the same durability, the same soil and stain resistance.
yeah.
They don't wear as long, and so you're having to replace that product much sooner, much faster. They're not fade resistant.
Yeah.
So there is some problems with it, and when the issue, I think one of the things that is really in the forefront right now is talking about sustainability. So for me, sustainability also means longevity and not having to replace things often so that they're going to the landfill and then you're using it again. Because even though hemp and another one would be linen or cotton,
Linen, sure,
right? They're still treated to a certain extent. There's more natural and there's more, more treated, but they're still treated to a certain extent. So that goes into landfill and then you're having to create more. So sustainability also resides in reducing your input.
I think some things worn look a little better than, that brand.
It's a look.
It's a look.
It's a look.
I'm definitely not into shabby chic, but a nice aged couch can look pretty cool.
Right.
How do I was thinking about, how do you feel about like recycling? I was thinking about that, like somebody who goes to like Goodwill and buys a leather couch. I mean, I know it's leather, but I'm wondering if there's something in that,
Well,
I mean, I'm vegan, you're vegan, so it's kind of a weird, I've just, it's something I thought about today.
I know.
Well,
personally, I became vegan about 6 years ago. Okay. And the reason that, I did it for my diet and health. And I'm thinking, this is going to be good. If I don't want to be vegan, I'll stop being vegan. Well, I couldn't do that once I realized what the world was going on that I didn't know about. Although I guess I just have blinders on. And then I quickly realized, because I'm in interior design, that, I was choosing not to eat animals, but I was selling them. I mean, I'm just like, how hypocritical was that? So I had to align these two, my personal ideas with my business principles. And so I do have, and even in my home, I do have leather and wool and down. I mean, those are probably the three biggest animal components that most people have in their home. But I didn't think that it made any sense either to say, I'm vegan, throw this shit out, and I'm going to get all vegan stuff. I mean, that didn't make any sense because that's not sustainable. That's not
exactly,
that's not in keeping with environmental consciousness. So I think that, if you're buying used, because I'm a big proponent of pre-owned, reusing furniture.
Me too.
So there's so much life left in all this good furniture that you go and you buy it used. All right. I mean, I've bought some used leather shoes now. Do I want to sit, like, actually the chair behind me is leather. It's in the 1960s. It has its original leather on it, and it's still good. And I bought it like 20 years ago, right? Now I do know that when that leather starts to go, I will replace it with either a leather alternative or some kind of vegan fabric. But in the meanwhile, like, do I like to sit on it? Not so much because of the leather, but I also don't think, like, why am I? It still works. It works in my space.
Yeah,
it
totally.
Works for me,
I'm right there with you. It's we have 5 crazy dogs in the house. We literally have to replace our couch every 6 months. So we just go to Goodwill and
yeah, there's tons of good stuff, not just
There's
on
tons of
Goodwill,
you can have
but
a lot of fun there. And it's,
yeah, there was somebody just told me about something called Buyback. It's a community effort of, it's very local, it's online, and you put your stuff on there for free, and people in your community say, yeah, well, I could use that. And it's just like an exchange. I think it's called Buyback. Yeah. And I thought, well, that's really good.
That's
but
really
there's
cool.
but there's lots of resources. Like, well, Craigslist used to be way bigger in terms of its presence. Facebook's marketplace is phenomenal.
Facebook Marketplace,
yeah, phenomenal. I mean, and I do that for a lot of pieces for myself, and I'm also.
It's amazing what you can find. There's some really good stuff.
Yeah,
out there. I'm
exactly.
Looking,
and right, and I can tell you that for a client, I actually got a sofa. It was on Facebook Marketplace. It was a beautiful sort of 1950s, a little more Regency style, a little more fancy, and it was really inexpensive. But that sofa for the 1950s is in better condition, better construction than something I could buy today. And if I had to buy that same quality sofa, that sofa would cost me around probably around 12,000 now because of the price of things.
Sure.
And I got it fixed. I reupholstered it. It looks gorgeous. And it's usable. It looks great. Yep. Like, why not do that?
Why not? Yeah, definitely. Home health and the stuff we use. I don't think people think about stuff like paint and chemicals that are in leather. And I know we touched on it, but how can, let's talk about health and stuff that's that people buy that might not be very good. I don't know if like the lower EOC paints, I don't know if you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the paint companies have come out with no VOC. I like to use Benjamin Moore paint because I like the quality of it. My painters like to use that. So I specify that. And I happen to know that a lot of their paint is vegan. Some of it isn't because of the color. So you just have to be particular about the color. How you find that out, that's a little bit of work. But a lot of their paint is also vegan. So, you're pretty safe with that. Yeah, because there are paints that aren't. Like if you're talking about a milk paint, there is lactose, there's milk product in there.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And so,
Interesting.
So again, here's the trade-off. Like you get, there's some good paint that isn't vegan, but it's good quality.
Yeah.
Or, you get crappy paint that isn't, you can get good paint, but that isn't vegan, that is vegan, but it doesn't, work so well. It doesn't spread.
It might not hold up outside as well as it does inside or to the sun. So yeah, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
So, and then, the natural, it's the same thing for the natural. It's like the natural stuff, again, doesn't hold up as long as, the chemical based product. So, if you have chemical issues, if you're very sensitive to those kind of things, you really have to pay a lot of attention to what you're bringing into your home.
Yeah.
I guess I start with, the vegan aspect is number one for me, making sure it's not an animal product. And then number two is really about mental. And you were talking a little bit about this earlier and introducing about the talk you're going to have about the suicide and to me, mental health is so important. It's particularly in the last year and a half that we've been at home in our homes, right?
Yeah.
And our home is one of the biggest investments that most people ever make, right? That you'll ever make. You put your biggest investment there. And that place is supposed to support you. It's supposed to work for you and be your place of peace and restfulness and rejuvenation.
Yes.
And that only happens when you create the kind of home that's going to do that. That reflects who you are. So
Absolutely.
in this past year and a half, if you've been home and you haven't done anything to your home and you're living in basically someone else's home because they probably did all the stuff and then you moved in and you're like, I'll put my furniture in and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You're not getting that, that feedback from your space that should feed your soul. So interiors to me are really a reflection of your personality, of a reminder of the abundance that you've created in your life. And so you want to create that in your interior. You want to create this feeling. So when you come home, okay, or if you're home, you want to be there and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is what I put up with because like, look at what I have, look at what I've created. And here's just a visual reminder. And it's so important for your mental health.
Yeah, it really is.
So that's how I approach it. And now if we can put the vegan aspect in there, if you can, the energy that you bring into your home, if it's cruelty free, you're not bringing that vibration. You're not bringing that violent energy into your home.
Absolutely.
And so you're creating this peaceful sanctuary for yourself. And that's why I think interior design is so important, and vegan interior design is even more important.
That's well said. It's funny. I constantly talk about the we're sort of living in a renovation right now, which is so stressful.
Okay.
And I'm here every day. My husband is working, so he at least gets to leave and come back.
Right.
And everything's delayed now. There's shortage of materials, and it's been like, my desk looks like, and I'm like, I got to do something,
Right. Yeah, you do, because if it's not working for you, if it's not supporting you, if you're having to work at being there, like your chair isn't high enough, your table's too small, you don't have the storage, you don't like the colors on your wall. Like, this is my office. When I bought this home about 2017, 4 years ago, this office was this sort of yellow, like not even a beautiful yellow, just yellow.
I totally understand.
And I was like, I had to work in here for 2 years because then I did the renovation, and I knew when I bought this home I was going to renovate it. And I was like, okay, it's got to support me. It's got to feel good. And this color was, of course, orange is one of my favorite colors. So that's why not only do I paint the walls, I paint the ceiling, not the floor. I've got
I see that.
Floor, but I've created this cocoon. So that's really important. But going through the process of a renovation, doing the work, can be stressful, to say the least. That's where I often come in, because I can really help relieve the stress as an interior designer. But it's sort of like having a baby. You have 9 months of uncomfortable. Okay, you haven't had a baby, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's the whole process of waiting for it, and then when it comes, that process over. Now you get to enjoy a new stage, and that's lifelong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm waiting for it.
Yes. Good luck. I know it can be, it's so stressful. Yeah. And
it's crazy. Just the price of wood, the shortages, it's just absolutely crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're seeing it all across the industry, not just in construction products, but in our lead times for home goods, partly because of the shipping coming from overseas. I mean, we have, and then we had Texas, and probably a lot of people outside the industry are not familiar with this, but that freeze that we had in Texas last year, where there was snow and everything.
Sure.
Well, 60% of our foam production comes from a facility down in Texas. And
Oh.
not only did they have the issue with being closed because of COVID and et cetera, but then they had that freeze, and it put a total stop to their production, and whatever stock they had was a problem. And so it put a squeeze on any kind of product that required foam. And that would be
no
like,
idea.
So that has impacted everybody in the industry. But the other thing too is that we have put a lot of manufacturing jobs and given up all our manufacturing capabilities to overseas companies and put them overseas. Why? Because we want, everybody wants cheap.
Yep.
Well, this is the price that we now are paying. We don't manufacture a lot of things anymore, so we can't even create that here where we are. We have to. We're waiting. So now the ships are out in sea. They're coming, but there's nobody because of the last year and a half. There's nobody in the ports.
Not enough truckers, not enough people at the ports.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
yeah, hopefully it makes some good changes here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And people rethink some of that. I'll just say that to be nice.
Leave it there. Okay. Yes. Well, we'll just, I have a positive attitude. The one thing we do know is that's going to change is that it will always change. The change always happens, right?
Absolutely.
So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's what we can look forward to, a change.
Yeah. What are some tips, I think of, if you're looking to do some quick changes in your house, paint is certainly one of the easiest changes.
Number one.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Number one, biggest bang for your buck is painting. Because it can just make a ton of difference. As you can see, my office behind me, the yellow to like burnt orange. And that was just simply putting a coat of paint all over the walls. Yeah. It didn't require, I could have done it myself, although I don't do that, but you can do it yourself. Yeah. It's, paint is not that expensive if you compare it to other goods. And you can make a huge difference. And I always love to paint a ceiling the same color as walls. Like I was
going to ask. I really like the way that looks.
Yeah, I love it. I love drama. I love color. So that works for me. Now, maybe you don't have that personality, or maybe it's too much for you. But if you wanted to try it, one of the best places to try it would be a small bathroom or a powder room, because you're not, committing to such a big room, right? And if you put it up and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? That's an easy fix, right?
It's an easy fix, yeah.
It's an easy fix. But I like to think of powder rooms as like little jewel boxes. So when you open a jewel box, it's all colorful, it's pretty, and so that's what I think of powder rooms. So when you create like this whole box with paint, you create that drama, or it could just be even just subtle drama if you want, Yeah. So that would be number one tip, would be paint if you want to do big bang for buck. Yeah.
What are a couple others?
Some other tips. Well, I guess it depends on the room. Like the kitchen is a big room where people focus a lot of time and attention and spend most of their time there. However, doing a kitchen renovation can really impact you budget-wise. It's a big investment. Now, if you have the money, that's great. And honestly, any kind of investment you make in your kitchen you'll see it return to you when you sell your home, because kitchens are the number one thing people look at. Yep. But there are some ways to get to change, update your kitchen. And one way would be often people don't have a backsplash. So, installing a backsplash, and it's not a lot of material, and you can usually do that for on a budget-friendly investment. Change out the hardware. The hardware can make a big difference.
Paint the cabinets. You can even paint the cabinets.
You can paint the cabinets.
Makes a huge improvement.
Huge difference. Now that can often be difficult, because if it's a melamine finish, it's hard to paint melamine. But if it's that bad, you know, how much worse could it look if you paint it? In fact, right? I mean, so, but right, you never know. Or you could reface the cabinets.
Yeah.
You know, so you keep the same cabinets, you reface them.
Right.
You know, you have to really look at if you're going to have the cabinets repainted. It's not by professional. It's not an inexpensive job because it's labor intensive. But you have to look at, is this kitchen working for me? Because if you have a kitchen, you just don't like it, but the layout is really working for you. Okay, that makes sense. Paint it or reface the cabinet, you know, put new cabinet doors. But if the layout isn't working for you, if you don't have enough storage and the fridge is way over there and the, you know, the sink just is not in a good spot, you don't have enough cutting surface. Before you start investing in these big ticket items like repainting, if you're, you know, having a professional do it, is like really spend the extra and redo the whole kitchen because
redo the whole thing. Just
and get an expert to help you because
you definitely
get an expert because they will be able to open your eyes. I have changed, you know, transformed kitchens from something that they're like, wow, I never thought that could open and we could do that and we could do this, you know, because you're not in that world. So I'm thinking about it all the time. And it's worth the extra to hire a professional to help you with that. But
I agree 100%. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So those are some little, and you know, a final fix would be new lighting, like definitely lighting, because for me, lighting can create the atmosphere.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
When you change lighting, when you add lighting that is dimmable, you know, under cabinet lighting, you add a whole new dimension to your kitchen that because often, especially if you have an older kitchen or an older home, lighting is usually an issue. You can't, when I bought my first home, I couldn't
especially the kitchen.
Especially kitchen, because you're working there. But I couldn't even, you know, my first home, I would walk in, I couldn't flip a switch to turn the bedroom light on. It drove me crazy. I had to walk across the room, you know, I'm like, oh, across the room, where's the lamp, you know?
Oh boy.
Like, okay, yeah. So it was uncomfortable, and you know, you didn't want to be in the space because you're like, okay, how do I get there? And oh no, I'll just forget. I'm just not going to go there to, you know, whatever. So lighting is really key, and you can do that yourself if you have some existing, or you know, get a lighting professional definitely to come in. You may have existing light fixtures that you're like, oh my god, these are the ugliest thing. You can find inexpensive lighting.
IKEA.
I'm not a fan of IKEA. I mean, Facebook Marketplace. Go into Facebook Marketplace.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
There you are.
Yeah.
Like I have bought beautiful things off of Facebook Marketplace that I use, and even lighting. It's amazing. So yeah, you can do it.
Habitat for Humanity usually has amazing stuff too.
Habitat for Humanity, absolutely. And then take your old stuff, which you think it may be junk, and
donate it.
And donate it back to them, because somebody else is going to like it, or somebody else is going to need a lighting fixture that looks exactly like the one you just donated. Don't throw it in the trash.
Absolutely.
Please.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh
my goodness. Have you ever, do people find you and choose you as a vegan designer, or do you ever have to convince a client, you know, or are you at the point now where you just do the vegan and that's why people come to you? You know what I'm saying?
I wish it were true that more people were coming to me just because I'm vegan, but that's not the case. I think most of my, you know, I have clients that are vegan, so they're very happy to be working with me. Most of my clients, you know, I don't compromise the design aesthetic because it's vegan. There are so many alternatives. It just takes me a little more time, a little more investigation to find those ones. So my clients aren't coming. I would say the majority aren't coming to me because I'm vegan. But they are getting vegan design, whether they like it or not. Oh, good.
I'm glad to hear that. That's what I was. I was wondering. So you're vegan all the way. Cool. Very cool.
I'm dedicated all the way.
Good.
When I'm convicted, you know, it's hard to prostitute me on my convictions. So, and that's one not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The funny thing about interior design, it's really the last vestiges of veganism, because most people are purchasing, purchase food regularly, daily, weekly, whatever. So they're thinking of those choices. And then, of course, we've seen veganism move into body products and, makeup and those daily necessities, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that has been, really, I mean, there's tons more room for growth, but that's a really big industry.
Yeah,
the next one now, exactly. And now it's fashion, right? Fashion is really stepping up, right? Because those are decisions that you probably are making more regularly.
Sure.
Now, in terms of interior design, most people will make a purchase and then they don't think about it again for 5 years, 10 years. I mean, and so they're not even thinking, oh, what is vegan design?
Right. Should I read the label? What am I looking for?
Exactly. And so it doesn't even come to mind. Even I mean, it took me like, a bit of time to make that transition as I'm going over, like, but I'm in it every day, so it came very quickly to me. Yeah. But most people don't. Like, most people, I'm sure, even don't realize that they're sleeping on down pillows. Right.
Sure.
Now that's not a vegan product.
Nope.
And
even wool, there's so much wool in mattresses that I don't think people realize. Yeah.
Right. Tons of these insipid little pieces in our life. Like, it's not just in interior design, but man, it's amazing how reliant we are on animal products. I mean, we still are. Yeah, it's like, what? How is it that we can't figure that out? Like, what the heck? Like, I don't understand. I'm still amazed. At least once a week, I'm still amazed. I'm like, what?
Me too. Every time I think I've seen it all, it never fails. It never fails. Yeah. So you went to New York School of Interior Design?
Yeah, I started studying there. Yeah. Okay. And it was great because I love school and learning. And then I just started getting clients and moved on to creating my business. So, and I've been working out of my home for the most part. And I spend a lot of time in my clients' homes and other showrooms, but most of my work is done in my home.
Sure. I went to School of Visual Arts, so kind of funny.
Oh,
it was my first degree. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that?
Oh my gosh. I graduated in 1986. I'm old.
Oh my gosh. No, you're not that old. Yeah, New York had changed.
Oh my gosh.
When was the last time you were up in New York?
Oh my gosh, I have not been to New York in at least 10 years.
Oh yeah. It's good and it's bad.
All my friends are still up there. I lived on, lived on the Upper West for a long time, but it's completely different. There's been so much building too, like the architecture has changed, the skyline has changed. It's crazy what's going on.
Yeah, totally changed.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, I miss it. But now I get to rest now. So.
Right.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, it's great energy in there, and there's, it's really can inspire me creative wise.
The museums, the buildings, the culture. Yeah. That's what I miss the most.
Yeah. Well, you come back. It's still there.
Yeah.
Although,
I'm overdue for a visit. I'm looking forward to checking out all the new vegan stuff. It's just crazy what's going on in New York City.
That is like the only reason I like going to, no, not the only, but it's like, oh, I'm going to New York. Where am I going to eat? Like, what new restaurant am I going to eat at? So that is like one good reason to living close to New York City.
For sure. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to share?
I think that, for me, vegan interior design is not perfect, but it's progress because even though I try to create as much vegan design as possible, there's so many, like we were saying just previously, there's so many places where animal products gets, inserted. And when I work with smaller manufacturers, I can have more control over what they use. But when we're talking about more mid-range or lower end home goods, home furnishings, I'm just a little peanut in a big industry, and I have no influence. Yeah. So for a long time, but for a long time, furniture, for instance, they were using hide glue, right? Made from the hide of animals.
Wow.
So when I specify, I try to, find out, do they have hide glue? But being a little peanut, it's like, okay, I can tell you that the fabric on this is vegan. The construction is, the wood is vegan. I mean, the fill is vegan, but can I say, unless it comes from like one of the fabricators that I'm used to, that give me that information, can I say the glue isn't?
No, I totally get it.
No, I can't. No. Can I say like shellac or lacquer? Like, are they still, is that part of it? Yeah. I mean, usually it's at like, 2% or 5% or less than that of the product.
Right.
But I have to just keep reminding myself that it's progress. It's not perfect. It's so much better than it was yesterday.
And what's funny is the percentage is so low, you just wonder why they're still doing it.
Right.
Well, I'm assuming it's a cost related thing. But,
it's always about the money, right? It's always about the
unfortunately,
money. But people are changing, and even me just having a conversation with my representative for the company, I was talking to this, a few years ago. I was saying to the rep, I was like, I just want to know, like, okay, you have the down alternatives for the fill, but I want to know about the glue in your furniture. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, because it's like, I've been doing this for 30 years, Risha, and nobody has ever asked me about the glue. So I got to call like headquarters and talk to them, and calls headquarters calls down to the floor, they're like, they confirm. No, but it was just bringing that awareness to him, because he's like, what are you talking about the glue? Like, and so explaining that he had explained and they had to explain. And now it just opens a little beam of light into people's minds.
Definitely, for sure. Especially something like that. That's something that I would remember,
Right. So I think that it's really important as a vegan just to keep opening minds. Even if it's just a crack, it's just like, wow, that's something I haven't thought about. And just the fact that they haven't thought about it means they may think about it and talk about it and get somebody else. And the more we have people thinking about it, more people are conscious of their choices, and the more conscious of your choice, the better you are at able to create the kind of world you want to live in. I mean, that's what it's about, creating the kind of world you want to live in, and that you do with your choices. So that's my soapbox.
Cool.
My little soapbox.
And then I do want to talk, you have a great Risha has a great blog on her website. She's got amazing design. I hope everybody will check it out. And you talk about how you've transformed over the years, and you've done, from having kids to divorce to, and how that even affects your design, going through all those different stages and being able to show it through your work, I think is really important too.
Yeah, it is. And people are going through transitions in their life all the time. So it's transitioning to create, again, that world that you want. Like we're transitioning because we want something better than what we had before. So
hopefully, absolutely.
Gosh,
I got to paint my house this weekend now. You laugh, but it's funny. We have tell you a quick story. So we had to get new garage doors, which had to be insulated, and it's like 6 months of waiting. And we'd have all the squares on the outside of the house, with the different colors. So we finally settled on one. So I'm like, do I start now? Do I wait till the garage doors go in? It's just, it's.
So are you?
The outside of our house is yellow. Like when we bought this house, everything was yellow. The house, the walls, the
Oh, wow.
bright,
Okay.
bright yellow.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's
there's
what we
good
started
yellow.
with.
Yeah, there's good yellow, and then there's too much
No,
yellow.
this is
Yeah.
not. This is
This is not good. Okay. Well, shoot me a picture if you need any help with your colors.
Oh, I
because,
appreciate that. Thanks.
yeah.
We're going for a more gray, bluish gray kind of.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I'm going to try the ceiling thing. I love the way it looks in your office.
yeah, and I think I posted recent pictures of other rooms that have ceilings painted.
Yeah.
I try to convince as many clients as possible to paint their ceilings. So you might get some inspiration from those pictures.
Yeah, I'm looking at my ceiling here. It's
well, we often forget.
It's funny. I can.
That's another surface that you can have fun with.
And it's weird because I'm on the upper level, and so the walls go like that.
Okay.
And then there, it's like a
right.
And what the previous, I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but I don't know if you can see the way that is. Then the yellow is.
Right. I see the yellow. So, you actually might not have minded that yellow if it had been taken right up and over.
This one actually is more of an orange, which I like, but the way the ceiling, the sides they did white and the top they did white.
Right. Which
I think needs to be a solid,
Oh gosh, it would look so great. Absolutely. Yeah.
The what is it, behind the scenes on Little Bear Sanctuary. Here's my ceiling.
It's important. I don't know, it's so important to me. So you must find that even your animals like being in good filling spaces, I'm sure.
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. We keep them in the closest we can to how they would live. If they,
right.
And nobody's in pens, nobody's locked up. So, just as important for sure.
Right. And nature, they're in nature, but nature is a great inspiration.
For sure.
I try to walk in the woods every day. I was walking this morning. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just, the color, the shapes,
the changes during fall, the seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Which we don't get here, but
Yeah, but it's a different beauty down there.
Yeah, true.
Really gorgeous.
Here I get inspiration from the bugs and all the colors.
Oh, bugs are great. Bugs are so great. I love bugs.
Yeah,
I love bugs a lot. There's so many great. I've been really obsessed lately with these macro pictures of bugs, so they get right up, like
I
right
love
to
those.
the eye. And you're
you
can see every little hair on.
Isn't that incredible?
These phenomenal. Who thought of that?
Yeah.
Who thought all this stuff is on a it's incredible to me how amazing the design and the colors are of bugs.
And the light too, when you get that close, you can really see.
Oh yeah.
That it's not just this fly on the wall. It's.
Oh no.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm constantly catching bugs in my house, especially in the summer, because I don't use AC up here, so I have a lot of windows open and the screens always don't work. But I'm, catching them and throwing them out. Yeah. Because now, like before, they were a little black dot, but now when I'm seeing them blowing up, I'm like, wow, that's a real
crazy stuff, right?
Living,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. I really enjoyed talking to you. I learned a lot.
Exciting.
I'm going to be following you, and
thank you.
And hopefully you'll come back.
I'd love to.
Chat.
Yeah, and actually, I need to just go down to Florida.
Come visit the animals. Let me know when you're down
there,
to. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely, I will. Yeah, I will. Thank you so much.
Hey, have a great weekend.
I will. You too.
Bye, Risha.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, check out her website. It's she does some amazing vegan designs. Love the color she uses. I'm definitely I got a paint, guys. All right. We got a little bit of time. Who's here today? I didn't say hello to anybody. I know Ruth is here. Hi, Ruth. I might be doing your class tomorrow, Ruth. I'm trying to figure out if I can do that time tomorrow. Hey, Nana, how are you, sweetie? Thanks. Who else? And hey, Richard, how are you? How's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. Countertop, $10 for 15 feet. That's a bargain, man. That's really, really good. Yes. Yeah, changing the world design in small, important steps. Absolutely. It's funny, talk about glue, right? I had no idea. I'm sure that vendor is going to remember that probably for the rest of his life, because she asked about if the glue is vegan or not. So really interesting stuff. All right. So for those of you who weren't here at the beginning of the show, I just want to remind everybody again that our October auction is going to be from I got too many papers, guys. Here we go. October 16th, Saturday, October 16th through Saturday, October 23rd. So it gives just 8 days. We'll probably have 1 or 2 raffles where you can buy like $5 a ticket for some really high-end items. And, you know, most of our stuff, if you guys have joined us through the past couple of years, it's a lot of fun. It's a silent auction. You bid online. So, you know, most of the stuff starts at $5 or $10. And, you know, you'll get a little notification if you get outbid. I mean, and it's just a lot of fun. We're just getting a lot of stuff together now, and we got some really fun stuff that companies are donating. And I know, I don't think Elizabeth isn't here today, but one of our regular viewers is an amazing artist, and she's going to be painting a few animal pics for the auction. So I'm excited about that. All right. And I think I got everything, guys. Yeah. Everybody else doing good? Yay. All right. Here we go. Hello. You guys notice I shaved? Like, I haven't been clean shaven in, oh gosh, I can't even remember when. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a change. Oh, well, guys, today, this is our last Friday show. Can you believe it? Last Friday show. We are moving to Thursdays at 6 p.m. starting September 30th. Can't believe I almost forgot to tell you guys this. So yeah, this is my last Friday show. No more Happy Friday. So as of September 30th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, that's going to be the new show schedule. I'm not going to be here next week because I'm going on vacation for the first time in, I can't even tell you guys how long. And Kelly will be here taking care of the animals. And Thursday, September 30th, my guest is going to be my amazing producer, Tiffany. So you guys will finally get to meet her. Most of you guys know her. So we're going to have a fun show together on September 30th. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm still looking forward to next week, guys. You have no idea. Yes, exactly. All right. I'm going to close the show there, guys. This is my last Friday. I'm looking forward to returning on September 30th. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Don't forget about Ruth's 8 p.m. masterclass tomorrow on self-publishing. It's going to be great. And I know she's got a few books herself that she's published. And I'm thinking if there's anything else. I haven't seen anything good on TV, I don't think. I don't think I've seen any new documentaries. Yeah, that's it. Happy Friday, guys. Remember, peace begins on your plate. Love you.
Don't don't want the fun to end? Grab more refreshments. Then head over to the Goldylocks Productions YouTube channel. With the huge selection of shows, the fun doesn't have to end.